Good evening. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines.
UN database to combat money laundering and terror funding. Health Ministry urged citizens and residents to take precautionary measures from seasonal flu. Capital Municipality warned election campaign violators. Saudi Arabia to localize 85% of food industry. Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak lead race to become Britain's next Prime Minister.
News in detail. UN database to combat money laundering and terror funding. Licensed NGOs and societies in Bahrain will now be able to access a UN database of blacklisted entities, groups and individuals. As part of efforts to combat money laundering and terror funding, a special password will be provided to review the decisions issued against those on the banned list, said a government official. Health Ministry urged citizens and residents to take precautionary measures from seasonal flu. Citizens and residents have been urged to take precautionary measures as well as vaccines amidst a surge in seasonal flu cases across the country. The Health Ministry yesterday called on people, especially the elderly and those with chronic diseases, to opt for the flu jab. Bahrain's hospitals are reportedly recording a spike in flu cases, which experts attribute to exposure to changing weather patterns. BDF hospital microbiologist Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Manaf Al-Qahtani backed the ministry's appeal, adding that a face mask could offer an extra layer of protection from viruses. The senior Bahraini medic, who is also the monitoring committee head of the National Task Force to combat COVID-19, reiterated the need to develop a culture of good health and hygiene to tackle the flu season. He also dismissed concerns of swine flu in Bahrain, citing that H1N1 was just another strain of a seasonal virus. Bahrain participated in Arab Justice Ministers meeting. Ministry of Justice, Islamic Affairs and Endowments Under Secretary for Justice and Islamic Affairs, Isa Sami Al-Manai, participated in the 38th meeting of the Arab Ministers of Justice Council, which convened in Rabat, Morocco. The meeting cast light on a number of issues, including activating the joint Arab agreements, like the agreement to combat money laundering and funding terrorism, and the agreement to counter the information technology crimes. Final list of parliamentary and municipal election candidates to be released. The final list of candidates eligible to run in the upcoming parliamentary and municipal elections is set to be announced on Wednesday. It has emerged. The High Court of Appeals has issued its rulings on 66 objections, 43 filed by candidates and 23 by voters. Capital Municipality warned election campaign violators. Vandalization of banners and posters of candidates continues as election campaign gains momentum across the country. Billboards of at least 3 candidates were torn down in Ramli, a major district in the Northern Governorate, including that of sitting MP and outgoing First Deputy Chairman Abdul Nabi Salman. Bahraini singer and composer Ahmad Al-Jumairi honored Egyptian Minister of Culture Dr. Naveen Al-Kelani and Egypt's Opera House President, head of the Arab Music Festival and Conference, Dr. Magdi Sabr honored Bahraini singer and composer Ahmad Al-Jumairi. The ceremony held at the Opera House in Cairo was in recognition of Al-Jumairi's artistic legacy and contributions to conserve the classic melodious Arab music. The 31st edition of the Arab Music Festival and Conference opened yesterday, Thursday, at the Cairo Opera House's Fountain Theatre, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Egyptian musician Ali Ismail, with several singers and soloists participating in addition to the Cairo Opera Ballet Company. Today's COVID updates.
COVID updates brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers.
Now we will be back after a very short break.
The 16th branch of Megamart and Macromart supermarkets in Bahrain has opened in Sahla. The best offers are available to the customers at affordable rates. Everyone is welcome. During and around the opening day, a variety of fish including salmon, meat and dairy products, roastery, frozen items, food and non-food items, groceries, fruits and vegetables, electronics, garments and ready-to-eat food items are available to the customers at affordable rates. Hearty welcome to all. Megamart and Macromart, your favorite shopping destination.
The exclusive franchisee of Cochin Kala Bhavan in Bahrain, with over a decade of existence in Bahrain. Exclusive online regular classes have started for classical dances, music vocal, instrumental music, cinematic dance, Kathak, Zumba body fitness, karate and yoga, drawing, arts and craft, children's theatre. For more information, please call 3909 6845 3909 4806 3885 2397 or visit www.bahrainmediacity.com.
Welcome back. Saudi Arabia to localize 85% of food industry. Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Environment, Water and Agriculture has revealed that the kingdom aims to localize 85% of the country's food industry by 2030. Food imports cost Saudi Arabia Saudi Riyal 70 billion annually. Supervisor General of the Entrepreneurship Department at MEWA, Dr. Ali Al-Sabhan said, adding that the food sector offers many opportunities for entrepreneurs, investors and owners of small and medium enterprises, especially in view of the great support provided by the ministry. Al-Sabhan's remarks came during his participation in the seminar titled The Impact of Entrepreneurship and Innovation on Food and Environmental Security of the Gulf Cooperation Council States, which was held as part of the Gulf Entrepreneurs Forum. He said Saudi Arabia targets to raise its fish production by 500% and increase its exports to Saudi Riyal 3 billion, in addition to raising the volume of dates exports to Saudi Riyal 2.5 billion by 2025. UAE announced deals worth $71 million for production of medical equipment. The UAE has announced the signing of industrial deals worth dirham 260 million between major pharmaceutical and medical companies to manufacture medical equipment locally. Under the partnerships, Pure Health, one of the largest healthcare providers of the UAE, will work with Abu Dhabi Medical Devices Company, the Abu Dhabi Ports Group and Abu Dhabi Polymers Company to establish a dirham 110 medical supplies production line in Abu Dhabi. The Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology said on Friday the dirham 150 million manufacturing unit will be built in Ras Al Khaimah and will enable the UAE to obtain an insulin substitute at more competitive prices. It will also support exports to regional and global markets where there is a growing demand for insulin substitutes, the ministry said. UAE private firm urged to hit 2% Emiratization target by end of year. UAE authorities have urged private sector firms to hit Emiratization targets by the end of the year or face financial penalties. Companies with more than 50 employees must ensure that 2% of their staff are Emirati before the start of 2023, a goal that is in line with the government's Nafis initiative. Any company that fails to reach the target must pay dirham 6,000 a month for every Emirati it fails to hire. The UAE wants 10% of the private sector workforce to be made up of citizens by 2026. The Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratization said on Thursday that fines for non-compliance will be collected from January. The ministry called on companies to support the country's push to invest in local talent and benefit from incentives and offer. Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak lead race to become Britain's next Prime Minister. Boris Johnson and former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak were leading the potential contenders to replace British Prime Minister Liz Truss on Friday, with candidates canvassing support to become Conservative Party leader in a fast-tracked contest. After Truss quit on Thursday, ending her 6 weeks in power, those who want to replace her were trying to find the 100 votes from Conservative lawmakers needed to run in a contest which the party hopes will reset its ailing fortunes, with the Conservatives all but facing a wipeout in the next national election. According to opinion polls, the race is on to become the 5th British Premier in 6 years. The winner will be announced on either Monday or Friday next week, Reuters reported. In what would be an extraordinary comeback, Johnson, who was ousted by lawmakers just over 3 months ago, was running high up the ranks alongside Sunak to be crowned the next Prime Minister. Sunak, the former Goldman Sachs analyst who became Finance Minister just as the COVID-19 pandemic arrived in Europe, is favourite with bookmakers, followed by Johnson. New UK leader to face highest government debt in 60 years. British government debt rose to the highest level in almost 60 years last month, and retail sales slumped, underscoring the scale of the economic challenges facing whoever replaces Prime Minister Liz Truss after her administration imploded under the weight of its failed financial plan. The Associated Press reported. Public borrowing rose to 98% of the economic output in September as rampant inflation increased interest payments on what the government owed, the Office for National Statistics said Friday. That's higher than at any point since 1963, when Britain was still paying off debts accumulated during World War II, deepening the sense of gloom, where figures showing that retail sales fell for a second straight month and are now 1.3% below pre-pandemic levels. Energy and security on agenda when Australia and Japan leaders meet. Defense and energy security will be the focus of discussions when Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida meets his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese this weekend. Officials from the two nations said Australia is the most important country for Japan's energy policy, Kishida told reporters in Tokyo on Friday before boarding a plane for Perth. Several Australian state leaders have argued for local gas production to be prioritized for the domestic market to avoid shortfalls, Reuters reported. Australia is a major supplier of iron ore, coal and gas to Japan, and the meeting will be held in the capital of Western Australia, 3,700 kilometers from the capital Canberra, to showcase the state's importance in supplying Japan's energy needs, including renewable energy. It is also a key source of beef and wheat to Japan. Australia and Japan are also expected to sign a new security cooperation agreement, updating a pact struck in 2007 to respond to a significantly altered regional security environment, officials said. Meloni takes charge as Prime Minister as Italy swings to the right. Giorgia Meloni was named as Italy's first woman Prime Minister on Friday and chose her cabinet team, setting her seal on the country's most right-wing government since World War II. Meloni, head of the Nationalist Brothers of Italy, stepped to victory in an election last month, Reuters reported. Her government, Italy's 68th since 1946, will replace a national unity administration led by former European Central Bank head Mario Draghi, who attended a European Union summit in Brussels on Friday in honor of his last acts as Prime Minister. India climbed 5 spots in 8 years to become 5th largest economy, said Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is now the fifth largest economy in the world, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on Saturday, as he stressed that the country was able to rise from the 10th spot in 8 years. Several weeks ago, India had surpassed the United Kingdom to rank the fifth on the list. Predictions were then made that the country would be seen climbing to the third spot. The government's recruitment drive is targeting over 10 lakh people, and 75,000 of them get offer letters on Saturday. In the coming months, lakhs others would be offered employment opportunities. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asserted while also stressing that self-reliance is important for growth. Meanwhile, the International Congress MLA Randeep Surjewala said that the government was pushed into acknowledging the unemployment crisis because of the Grand Old Party's Kanyakumari to Kashmir Bharat Jodo Yatra. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayanan signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.